Hi, my name is David from Social Science 10C, and I'm going to be teaching you how to use raw data to calculate a regression line, where height is an independent variable used to predict weight, the dependent variable.
Here is the regression line question that I am going to answer. The question asks, what is the regression line for the following data? Here's the data: height and weight. Each row represents an individual person. This person is 60 inches tall and weighs 120 pounds. This person is 62 inches tall and weighs 140 pounds. This person is 66 inches tall and weighs 180 pounds. This person is 72 inches tall and weighs 200 pounds. Our first step is to find the mean of height and the standard deviation of height, and then to find the mean of weight and the standard deviation of weight. I used the calculator to find the answer to these numbers. For height, I found that the mean is 65 and that the standard deviation is 5.29. And now I do the same for the weight data. And when I plug this into my calculator, I find that the mean of weight is 160 and the standard deviation of weight is 36.51. Our next step is to use these numbers that we just calculated to find the covariance. To find the covariance, we have to fill out these columns that I've written out right here. For this first column, we take your individual data and subtract it by the mean. So we're going to do 60 minus the mean, 65, which will equal -5. And then we do this for each individual data. 62 minus 65 equals -3. 66 minus 65 equals 1. 72 minus 65 equals 7. We then do the same for weight. 120 minus 160 equals -40. 140 minus 160 equals -20. 180 minus 160 equals 20. And 180 minus 160 equals 40. We then take these columns and multiply them together. So we're going to multiply the height times the weight. For instance, -5 times -40 equals 200. -3 times -20 equals 60. 1 times 20 equals 20. And 7 times 40 equals 280. We then add this whole column up. That'll equal 560. And the last thing we need to do is find our degrees of freedom, and all that equals is the number of in the sample that we have, which is 4 minus 1. So 4 minus 1 equals 3. We then take the degrees of freedom and divide it by our total of the height times weight. So just like that, 560 divided by 3 equals 186.66. This is our covariance, and I've written it right here. Our next step in finding a regression line is to calculate the R, the correlation coefficient. R equals the covariance divided by the standard deviation of height times the standard deviation of weight. I've already plugged it into the formula, and when we multiply that out and divide it, we get 0.949. This is a correlation coefficient. Now our next step is to find the slope. The slope is simply the standard deviation of weight over the standard deviation of x times the correlation coefficient. I've already plugged in all of our numbers and calculated it on my calculator. And what we get for the slope is 6.55. The final step is to calculate the y-intercept. The y-intercept is simply the mean of weight minus the slope times the mean of height, and that'll give us the y-intercept. I've already plugged everything in, and this is the mean of weight, the slope, and the mean of weight, the mean of height. We just multiply this out and subtract, and we get negative 265.75, and that's going to be your y-intercept. Finally, we plug in all of these numbers into the regression line. Our regression line will be weight equals negative 265.75 plus 6.55 times height. Now we can predict the weight for any given height.